I had that unfinished business with the color pink. That's why nowadays I'm really obsessed with the color pink. I've been noticing this trend of the ending of the guru self-help era. In the previous video, I have said that I don't like being a guru and I don't like having a culty environment. When I started my spiritual career, my coaching career, helping people navigate their traumas and help them learn deeper truths about themselves, it took off really fast. It took off within 3 months, and I had a lot of positive feedback, and it lasted for over 2 years in that mode of euphoria and honeymoon. I felt like I have found my tribe, people who were like-minded, who wanted the same things as me, who had the same values as me. My transformation guide career was really thriving, and that was the time in my life when I felt the most happy, being able to share my authentic self and with my experience help other people live a more bright, vibrant life. And it was working until I hit a wall. My transformational coaching service was based in a Russian-speaking world. I was serving clients from Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, all the old Soviet Union bloc. And then the Russian-Ukrainian war happened, and overnight it threw me off balance. I had a lot of calls from my clients in Ukraine having to leave their homes behind, leaving as a family, panicking and suffering. And I was witnessing all of that energy, witnessing all of that chaos, all of that pain, all of that suffering. While doing a lot of pro bono work, we tried as a team to work day and night to help people navigate the difficult circumstances, navigate the uncertainty, not just external but internal. And it affected me. It made me feel like all the work that I was doing with these people before, it was meaningless. It could be erased by an external circumstance. And in that moment, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like what I was doing, what I was dedicating myself to doing 16 hours a day with my coaching career, it was meaningless. At the time when the war broke out, I was actually in South America. I booked the trip 6 months in advance and was really looking forward to this time of celebration, to celebrate my success in my transformational coaching career. And now it turned into this chaos of uncertainty, of collective pain, of self-doubt, whether what I was doing had actually any importance at all. The journey of just being by myself in a new continent for me, in a new land, and just navigating and feeling this solitude and feeling this isolation, feeling all the collective emotions, but also navigating personal doubt. That was for me very enlightening. I had the feeling of guilt that I was still okay. A lot of my clients in the war zones, they were going through a lot of hardships. After 3 months of travel, when I was able to go back home, I decided then that I would move to Vietnam and try something new. And I think at that point, I started to rethink my career. I lack confidence to pursue it as aggressively as I did before. And I didn't know where to pivot to. So I just took that time to explore myself and to heal. A very famous therapist who one of my followers, they recommended to me. I had a session with her and she said something very, very harsh. She said that if you're not feeling confident in yourself, then maybe you're not worthy of being a teacher. At that time, because of my own beliefs, my own doubt, and my own self-worth crisis, I actually believed those words. Even though I didn't agree with them morally, I kind of said to myself, yeah, true. If I don't feel like I have healed, if I don't feel like I have learned enough to be certain, then I don't deserve to be a teacher. I don't deserve to be a guide, a coach to other people. I completely invalidated myself with another person's invalidation of me. I accepted it. And I took it. And for the next year, I didn't take on any new clients. I continued to run the group coachings, the cohorts that I had at the time, and they all did well. But I never felt the same excitement, same happiness as before, just because of some psychologists therapist told me that I'm not worthy, that I'm an imposter. And because it confirmed my internal beliefs that I cannot be certain. Therefore, I cannot be a coach. I cannot help other people because even if I help other people, it could be overridden by external circumstances. Some of my students and clients actually felt the change within me because I stopped posting. I stopped being so active on social media. I took a long hiatus. They reach out and ask how I was. These people who have escaped from war zones were worried about me because they felt like something was amiss. And I remember one of my clients from Ukraine, a long-term client with whom I've worked for 3-4 years, and we have lived a lot of things together. She came to me because she was navigating the effects of trauma from having experienced a very difficult birth. So she was preparing to have another baby and didn't want the fears and the trauma from the previous birthing experience to affect her new experience. And we went through her whole pregnancy together. I became close with her family, and I even worked with her husband as well. So she reached out to me and she told me something that I still remember to this day. She said that, Dang, what you did with me and with my family, it was so helpful. It was so healing. And that was the kind of healing I couldn't get through years of working with therapists and with other guides and coaches. And I told her, but like the war happened and I felt like I just couldn't do anything to help you guys. And she said, no, but you were there. You talked to me through it all. And I feel so grateful because without you, I would feel even more uncertainty and even more difficulty having to migrate my family out of this war zone. You were there from day one, from 4 a.m. of the day it all happened. And I said, yeah, but don't you think that all the work that we did, all the things I help you navigate, all the shadow work, all the inner work, on all the spiritual work, it was just erased by this situation that created so many scars, so many painful memories, so much trauma. And she told me something that gave me strength again. What we did helped me deal with what came my way so much better. Because without that inner work, without all of the healing, without all of the shadow work that we've done together in the last few years, I wouldn't have so much strength, stamina, and faith to get through these difficult situations. I wouldn't have this positivity that was grounded in self-belief, in the belief that I can take care of myself and I can take care of my family and we can get out of this. Without all of that work, that would have not been possible. And that was an aha moment for me. It soothed something deep within me and I understood we don't heal our traumas on our own. We need other people in our lives to uplift us, to connect with us, to bond with us, and together we co-regulate. Self-regulation is good. It's a good skill to learn, but it doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't happen when we're just talking to a therapist, going through our traumas over and over again. It happens in the conversations, in the interactions with other people, when we're able to break through from our own patterns, from our own limiting beliefs, from our own prisons of our minds that we have put ourselves in accidentally or on purpose. And even though after that I didn't get back to coaching right away, I tried a lot of new things like modeling. I took that time to fulfill my childhood bucket list, and I tried modeling and then got involved with Miss Universe Vietnam, placing as second runner-up. But eventually I got back to coaching. Not only that, but I wrote the books inspired by all the works that I did with my clients. Even though the war experience was very painful and very humbling, it taught me and gave me a reality check. It gave me the reality check that we are not in control. Yes, we can control our reactions, we can manage our reactions, but we're not completely in control of our lives. We are co-creating this reality, and no matter how much we manifest, it is still a group project. We will still have the influence of outer circumstances. In Asia, we have a saying, the right time, the right people, and the right place. All of those things, like in I Ching, they coexist and they constantly influence each other. So, manifestation only happens when you have the right time, you have the right people, and you are in the right place. And by training yourself and honing your inner resilience and the ability to manage your own emotions and reactions and your focus, you can bring yourself closer to the desired reality, no matter how the outer reality is trying to shift you. You will end up in the right place, even when everything else is chaos. The problem I notice when working with therapy is that we spend so much time fixing our trauma and hyperfixating on it. With talk therapy, you just keep talking about the same thing over and over again, hoping that it would be relieved and you would be freed from the shackles of this trauma and the impact it has on you. And maybe sometimes with talking, clarity does come. But I think most of the time with people who experience trauma or difficulties in their lives, the problem is not that they don't understand that it exists and affects their life, but the problem is that they cannot manage how they react when their trauma is being triggered. And oftentimes, they don't even notice that their trauma is being triggered. The more you talk about it, the more you relieve the pain and just reopen the wound. And as someone who has spent a lot of money on therapy, at some points it can be damaging because all of your life will be focused on changing your reactions to that trauma. The more efficient way would be to change your identity, script out your new identity, and dance from there. Identify who you want to be, identify what that person embodies, what your higher self embodies, what qualities, what character do you have? What traits do you have? Who do you hang out with? How do you react to things? And really play that character. Get into their skin. And by embodying this character, you are shifting your reality and shifting your focus from the pain, the suffering, and all the traumas you have lived into this new reality when you're focusing on thriving and succeeding. And my student, that client who told me those encouraging words, who have shifted my perspective, she showed me with her own example. Because even though she escaped from the war zone and it was supposed to be a very traumatic and very painful experience, she was able to make the best of the situation. She held an exhibition of her artwork in Dubai. She then started her work as a transformational coach and as a spiritual guide as well, because during our work together, she has awakened her intuition and she was able to begin a very fulfilling career, not just remain in her identity as a mom with a happy family, but also she gained a new identity of a successful businesswoman, of a successful coach, of a successful spiritual guide who now is thriving and helping a lot of people. And that really inspired me to find my own alignment and not be afraid of the unknown and the uncertainty, and not be afraid of not knowing something. Because I know that with what I know now, even though it is a lot less than what I will know tomorrow, it can still help someone. Just because I chose to be authentic, I chose to be truthful instead of play a role that is not mine to begin with. One thing that I really like about Theosophy, it's the slogan. There's no religion higher than truth, and I completely agree with it. When you're able to be authentic, when you're able to create a life that authentically aligns with who you are from within, that's the most happiness one can experience.